I'm Andy.
And I'm Mark. Morning.
And Mark is playing his usual fucking tricky games.
What are you talking about?
Every time I arrange a time to start, you text me and change the time.
We did not.
I thought I'd be smart and I'd let you pick the time. So now I ask you to pick the time, you pick a time, and then you arrive 15 minutes early and then harass me by text saying, "Where are you? Where are you?" You're a fucking gaslighter, sir.
It's 9 minutes early, actually. So it's dark and miserable outside. It's a cross between rain and snow.
Have you got snow?
On the ground, a little bit, yeah. It came last night.
Is that the first time?
No, it came a week ago. And then, then it, as normal, plus degrees, raining, all disappears. But it fell overnight. So it was minus overnight. So,
But we've been down to minus 13 so far, I think.
Yeah, no, we had the week before it was minus 13, even on Solerin. So, yes, it's, what do they say? I think down here they say it's the fourth snow that stays for the winter.
That's just bullshit.
No, I think it's pretty not old. Is it an old wives' tale? No, that's not the same thing.
It's an old wives' tale, which means it's bollocks.
No, I think it's something different, actually. Local tradition says. But, so how are you? All right?
Yeah. I was just reading my local current bun. There's a fantastic story in there.
Relating to?
An Italian guy who has been accused of dressing up as his dead mum to fraudulently claim her pension.
Ah, excellent.
He's 56 years old.
Yes.
Apparently, he successfully pocketed thousands in pension payments.
Yes.
He was eventually exposed. To make matters worse, his mum actually died 3 years earlier at the age of 82.
All right.
And when she passed away, he didn't report her death. Instead, just began to pretend to be her.
So did she not get buried in that case? Because that is illegal, isn't it?
He wrapped her body in a bed sheet, stuffed it in a sleeping bag, and hid it away in the house.
Oh, my God.
So he kept that decaying corpse for so long that it eventually became mummified.
Yeah.
Now, realising in order to claim the pension, he would need to modify his appearance. So he underwent a little bit of a Mrs. Doubtfire style transformation.
All right.
Cutting his hair in a similar style to his mother, then applied some makeup and some lipstick, put on her pearl necklace and clip-on earrings, and arrived at a government agency in the town in the hope of renewing her mother's ID card, which had expired a few months ago.
What, in the same town where he lived?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's not the smartest guy in the world.
It wasn't long before he raised the suspicions of someone who worked there. I'm guessing it was that his beard was slightly more bushy than his.
I was going to say.
And realising that something was wrong, this employee alerted the police and the local mayor. I don't know if the mayor was a friend of the mother's, but the authorities compared pictures of the mother and the son, and it was only then that they realised they had been deceived. Now, to lure him out, the police summoned his mother to the town hall, except this time he was met by the police.
Yeah. And is he being do you get put away for that sort of thing?
Well, following the discovery, the police went to his home where they found the body of his mum tucked away in the laundry room. The council officer said he came to the council offices wearing a long skirt. He was wearing lipstick and nail varnish, a necklace and old-style earrings. But up close, his neck was a bit too thick and his wrinkles were strange and the skin on his hands did not seem to be that of an 85-year-old woman.
Oh.
His voice was feminine, but every so often it dipped and sounded. I'd like to climb my bed shed for this week, please.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, dear.
But, he said, I might not have noticed these strange features had they not been pointed out. Yeah, dude looks like a lady.
God, dear.
So once it was revealed, the police said they needed to inspect his home, and he agreed. So they searched the house and found the body. The coroner said she probably died of natural causes, but that will be established by the post-mortem. It's a very strange and very sad story.
That was the story from Italy in the current bun, the English Sun.
Yeah.
Did I tell you, have I given you my rant about, I have a pension from the UK.
Yeah.
And every year I have to prove to them that I'm still alive.
Send them a dick pic. Stop asking.
I have to send them a form that's witnessed and signed by someone who's completely independent from me, not family.
So what, a stranger in the street?
Well,
Excuse
this is...
me, would you mind signing this?
Yes, exactly. Would you mind witnessing this official document? I know you don't know me or what it relates to, and it's in English, a language you don't understand. And I phone them every year and I say, have you not found a better system yet? I mean, it's so easy to fake anyway. I mean, if someone was trying to defraud them because, in fact, I died and they should have stopped paying. What?
Don't say that to them, because they will then say, aha, double bluff.
Well, isn't it ridiculous? And I said to them, what happens if I get dementia? Then what happens? You stop paying my pension even though I'm still alive.
Well, they will find any old excuse to stop doing that.
Absolutely. Anyway, so, So it's not a funny story. It's a sad story.
No, but I mean, it's got its comedy bits.
Well, there's been plenty of comedy bits in the news this week, actually.
Is there? Apart from the budget, which is...
No, well, that's Thursday.
Comedy bit. Yeah, but we all know what's going to happen.
Mansion tax. Have you got a mansion in the UK?
The party of no taxation is going to more or less tax people out of existence once again.
Oh, well, you should be in favour of this. They're taxing the rich.
They're not taxing the rich.
Well, mansion tax is pretty richy.
Mansion tax.
No, well, that's what everybody's expecting.
Lives in a mansion.
What?
Who the fuck lives in a mansion?
The people you want to pay more.
The thing is, yeah, but they're classing a mansion as anything with a value of over £1 million. That's a one-bedroom flat in Crouch End. It's not
yes,
mansion.
Actually, you're right. Yes, it is. It's a one-bedroom flat, not in Crouch End. That's a bit... No, that's where you came from, isn't it? There aren't any £1 million properties where you came from.
Fucking snob.
No, but you're right. Let's see what she says. Doesn't affect me. I don't have any property in England, but...
Sure, well, they'd have to introduce a castle tax for you, wouldn't they?
Yeah, exactly, because I lived in a castle. No, you've got the budget coming up this week. You've got... what happened in America? Oh, of course. Well, the Comney and Letitia, whatever her name is, their cases got thrown out of court because... And I don't mean this against all... I don't mean it in a demeaning way, but I would describe the lawyer that Trump appointed to prosecute Comney as obviously a bit of a bimbo.
Oh, she wasn't there because of her legal knowledge.
Well, clearly not, because... well, no, because she turned out not to be the smartest of lawyers. Though, in fact, interesting. It's very, I don't know, it's totally boring, really. But it was interesting why the judge did dismiss the case. And that was because she had been appointed illegally. So it wasn't actually the case that was dismissed. It was dismissing the way the prosecution had been brought.
How can you appoint a lawyer illegally? Was she not qualified?
It was because she was appointed something like interim attorney general, and they had already appointed an interim Attorney General who had refused to prosecute Comey. So he got the boot and she got appointed in his stead. And that was not done according to the rules and regulations of appointing these people. So she wasn't able to act in the capacity she did. So anyway, so that's been thrown out. But I'm sure, well, the government said that, the White House said they're going to appeal straight away. And of course, you've got this thing going up with, what's this fellow's name? Literally the archetypal American hero. I think his name is Kelly, but I might be wrong. And he was the one that who served in the military, test pilot, tours of duty, real soldier. Not a pretend, a real actual soldier, and NASA commander. He's been into space and things. I mean, literally the archetypal American hero. And what's that? I don't recognize that noise. Is that a tank? What? Oh, a car engine starting.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a rocket taking off.
Not quite. Anyway, he was the one.
I'm going to blame Ronnie, my sound engineer.
Exactly, the cat. He was the one that told the American forces that they never have to follow illegal orders or carry out orders that are in fact illegal or breaking the law.
You shouldn't even have to tell people that.
No, but that's exactly his point. He said, it's so obvious, it shouldn't need to be said. But Trump's response to this was, he's a traitor and should be hanged. To an all-American. This is a fellow who didn't even serve in the forces because that thing? His foot? What was wrong with his feet?
Dodger.
What?
He was a draft dodger.
No, exactly. He had something wrong with his foot.
Every fucking American president that has ever lived has been a fucking draft dodger.
Actually, I don't think that's true, but pretty close to it.
The fucking cowardly motherfuckers who send other people's kids off to war.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing about the British royalty, not really the parliamentarians, but the royalty. They do actually send their kids off to war.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't work. I mean, Prince Andrew came back.
No, you're right. No, because, I think he actually served in an active role in the Falklands, as I recall,
he
Andrew.
was a helicopter pilot in the Falklands.
Yes, exactly. As was... Someone else was a helicopter... Harry.
Oh, Harry, yeah.
Harry was a helicopter pilot as well. I think he was an Apache pilot, funnily enough.
He actually wanted a bit more action, Harry, but he was kept back from any frontline duty.
Yeah, it could be. Anyway, so that's, just absurd situation. What else has happened? Nothing much is going on in Sweden. Is there anything going on in Sweden?
Not really. We're still waiting for the winter, as it were.
Oh, yes, you're right, actually. I don't think it's a record, though. Amazingly, it's not a record.
No, but I'm starting to wonder if we will actually have our first non-white Christmas since I've been in this country.
We've had one non-white Christmas.
I haven't.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You might have. We might have been in different parts of the country.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I don't have anybody coming across this year, so it's just...
I'm spending Christmas absolutely solo.
Are you?
I'm not even going to bother with Christmas. What's the point?
Well, I know you're not coming down to our area.
So what would I do instead? Adopt a homeless?
Yeah.
You can't find homeless in this place in the winter. That's the one good thing about Sweden. You'll never be accosted by a homeless in December.
I think they do have a few homeless people in Stockholm.
They can't last very long.
No. I mean, and there's always provision for them. But isn't it amazing if you think of what happens in the UK? It happens across Europe, obviously, but I'm thinking of the scenes you see when you really have these homeless tent cities in places like LA or London or thing. I mean,
Las Vegas has one of the biggest.
Really? Las Vegas, where the Grand Prix was, they have a lot of homeless people there, do
They
they?
have a massive underground homeless community. Enormous.
I mean, isn't that a sad indictment that with all of the glamour and the money and shit that goes on in Las Vegas and the Grand Prix and everything, that you actually have people who don't have a home or a bed to sleep in?
Yep.
Thank God we do live in Sweden. I mean, England is pretty bad, though I think it's getting a little bit better in the UK.
Well, nothing is getting better in the UK. Don't ever say that. If things got better in the UK, we'd be out of a job.
What we wouldn't have anything to moan about.
No, we'd have nothing to talk about. Anyway, talking about, let's get on with what we're going to talk about today.
What? We've only been talking. I can't. Where's the timer? 15 minutes.
15 minutes, yeah, but we don't want to make every episode a two-parter.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
I like to keep my shit concise.
Yeah. Well, you've got a bit of a thing to catch, not to match up to. You did the Fabian Society, and then you did Davos, both of which promoting my philosophy of life, by the way. And so I'm intrigued to find out what you've come up with this week, because you've had a bit of a run.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, you're going to like this one.
That's not good.
The thing is, I did have some contact with Luke this week. We had a little chat.
Yes.
He suggested a thing that I should do, which is quite a good idea. Which I'm
cut me off.
Well, it does involve you, but I'd already set this one up, so I'm going to do it in our next episode, which will be a lot more light-hearted and more fun.
Yes.
In our weird stuff, but today is a little bit more serious. But
okay.
Still, I mean, there is a kind of funny side to it, although there's a big non-funny side to it as well. So today's episode, we're going to talk about innovation and unintended consequences.
Oh, yes.
And a man whose legacy is so infamously destructive that one environmental historian once joked, this guy had more impact on the atmosphere than any other single organism in Earth's history.
The fellow who invented the internal combustion engine.
It wasn't, but it was related. Thomas Midgley Jr.
Michelin?
Midgley.
Oh, Midgley, not the tower person.
Fucker. He just muted you, my sound engineer.
Luckily, I wasn't saying anything.
He was born on May the 18th in 1889. Because his name ends with Junior, you know we're in America.
Yes. I'm just trying to think what he invented, 1889.
He was born in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania.
That doesn't exist.
Well, it does sound like it should be a town.
It's a Disney invention.
By cartoon forest animals, but it actually is a real place.
Beaver Creek.
His father, uncannily called Thomas Midgley Sr., was an inventor too, although
bicycles.
Far less notorious inventions. So you could say that ingenuity ran in the family, like brown hair or a predisposition to destroy the planet. Midgley Jr. studied mechanical engineering at Cornell University.
All right, so he was a smart guy.
He was intelligent. I mean, there's no doubt in that.
I think Cornell has always been one of the top.
Cornell, MIT.
Yeah, exactly.
He graduated in 1911. He was smart, he was curious, and he was fascinated by chemistry. He was also, by all accounts, kind, optimistic, and enthusiastic.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, these are three qualities you don't want in a scientist.
Kindness. We don't like that.
He was a guy who loved problem solving so much that he couldn't leave a puzzle unsolved, even if solving it eventually caused a global catastrophe.
Oh, dear.
So shortly after graduating, he joined Delco, which was a division of General Motors. And that's
what? There can't have been a division of General Motors in 1911. They'd only just invented the car.
No, the car was invented in the late 1800s.
Yeah, I realise that, but I'm surprised General Motors even existed in 1911.
General Motors was there just after the Garden of Eden.
Yes.
So
All right.
this is where our story really picks up steam, because industrial America in the early 20th century had a big problem that needed fixing. In fact, it had many. And Thomas Midgley was about to fix two of them with gusto and unintended chaos.
Gusto. That's a nice word.
Early cars had a major problem.
What was that?
Engine knocking.
Okay, timing. Yeah, okay, yeah.
A loud banging noise caused by premature ignition.
Premature ignition.
That's what I said.
I know.
What are you talking about? Oh, I see. You're giggling at the word premature.
Premature ignition.
Yeah, caused by premature ignition of fuel in the engine cylinders. And if you've never heard the engine knock, imagine your car coughing, gagging, and politely asking you to pull over and let it lie down for a minute.
That's not what knocking sounds like.
That's exactly what knocking sounds
like. It isn't. Knocking sounds like exactly knocking. Oh, that's what the engine... Oh, well done, Andy. That's a bit of pre-production.
That's not knocking. Now, knocking didn't just sound bad. It damaged engines, it reduced fuel efficiency, and it drove car manufacturers crazy.
Could even blow holes in the pistons.
GM needed a fuel additive that would prevent knocking, making the engine run smoothly and efficiently.
Oh, I know what you're coming up. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So Midgley was assigned to find the solution.
That's right.
He tried everything. He tested hundreds of compounds, metals, gases, liquids, exotic chemicals. He once joked that he'd inhaled so much toxic stuff that he temporarily lost his sense of smell. And that's not what you really want to hear from your chemist. Oh, do you know what? I inhaled so much toxicity, my skin turned green and I fell over.
Turning green is not... I think you're quite close to it. I think he might have turned green.
In 1921, he found something that worked spectacularly well. Tetraethyl lead.
Yeah.
And tetraethyl lead, or TEL for short, dramatically reduced engine knock. It was cheap to produce, easy to add to the petrol, and incredibly effective.
Yeah, that's right.
There was just one tiny little problem.
It was lead.
Lead is extremely poisonous.
Yeah.
Not regular poisonous, not, oops, my stomach hurts poisonous.
Deadly.
Permanent neurological damage, hallucinations, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, kidney failure, and mass environmental contamination poisonous. And people knew this. As early as ancient Rome, people knew that lead harmed the human body.
Because they had lead pipes.
They had lead everything. But I mean, even though in the Roman times we knew that lead was fucking poisonous, even as late as the 1900s, it was still used as a base for paint, as a base for makeup that you put on your skin. It's incredible the way it's been marketed to kill us just in the name of consumption.
But hang on, what are you talking about? 80? I was 1900, late 1970s, 1980. What do you mean? Lead was removed from paint in the 1980s or 90s?
Even in the 1900s, it was.
Oh, I see. Yeah, late 1900s. Yeah, yeah.
Why are you arguing with me when I'm absolutely spot on with my facts?
No, because we were talking about this fellow arriving in 1911 or whatever it was, yes. And I wanted to make sure people understood it was the late 1900s before lead was actually removed from paint. Yes, and
the thing is, General Motors, Standard Oil, DuPont, for them, this TEL was a miracle. It solved the knocking, it made engines last longer, and it made the companies rich. And they knew it was fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
But why would they care? This is how your corporation thinks of you.
Yes.
So they branded it ethyl, removing the word lead completely because it sounded, well, a little bit awful.
Ethel sounds like a mid-1940s, 50s housewife.
Sounds like my nan.
Did you have a nan called Ethel?
No.
But you could have done.
You could well have done. And the thing is, the word lead is hard to market. So even though there is a saying, puts lead in your pencil or puts lead in your gas tank, it's not something that you can sell. Now, Midgley himself allegedly believed that the risks were exaggerated at first. Unfortunately, his optimism veered straight into tragedy.
Oh dear.
To manufacture TEL, GM opened a plant in New Jersey where workers quickly began falling ill. Some hallucinated and were probably sacked, being accused of taking LSD during their breaks. Some became violent and some died.
Sorry, hang on a second. I don't understand why General Motors is involved in the production of a fuel additive.
Because he worked for General Motors and they assigned him the task of stopping the engine knocking.
But wouldn't that have been made by Esso or Texaco or
they
something?
They developed the technology to stop the engine knocking. Why would you give that to a fucking petrol company?
Oh, maybe. Okay, yeah.
Why would you give that kind of money-making technology away? This is corporations we're talking about. They don't give away shit.
Well,
One employee ran around screaming about insects biting into his skin before collapsing. In total, several workers died in horrifying ways. The press had a field day calling it the House of Butterflies because hallucinations often involved imaginary fluttering creatures.
Really?
A charming
Something to look forward to.
For a very uncharming workplace. GM insisted everything was fine. Midgley himself held a press conference.
What did he say?
To prove that TEL was safe. In a painful display of confidence, he poured leaded gasoline over his hands and inhaled the fumes. He then
passed out.
He could do this every day without any harm.
But he must have known that it was deadly poisonous because he was a chemist.
Well, just a few months later, Midgley himself was hospitalised with lead poisoning.
Did I tell you, have I ever told you my factory making a fly killer strips?
No. Was it?
Have I not told you that story? It's basically exactly what you described. I must have told you. I worked in a plastics factory.
You get them caught all over you.
No. I worked in a plastics factory that literally made, I don't think they exist anymore, Vapona fly strips, which is the things you hang from the light bulb in the kitchen. And it's basically, I think it's DDT. I mean, you can't buy them anymore. And what you used to do, you used to mix the DDT chemical with a thermoplastic, put them into a mold, and it came out sort of yellow brick style stuff. Anyway, the workers always used to complain that, of feeling bad, headaches, nausea, and all that sort of stuff. And the boss got so sick and tired of listening to these people complaining about how dangerous it was to work in this environment. He went down onto the shop floor and he said, "These things are completely harmless." And he took a bite out of one of these Vapona fly strips. So it was a brick about a centimetre thick, 3 or 4 centimetres long. He didn't chew it or swallow it, but he took a bite out of it. And the offices were on the second floor. And as he was walking up the stairs, he collapsed on the stairs and was taken to hospital.
What was it?
And after that, he recovered okay. But after that, they installed a very sophisticated ventilation system to stop the workers being poisoned.
Did they sack the foreman?
I mean, it was an amazing. There's all sorts of funny stories about that fellow. Not that it's funny, but that was one of them. I remember him. I remember his name. He also, I mean, just as an amusing, he's dead now, unfortunately. No, but there was another very amusing story. Just as a complete aside, he was eating a bowl of pasta, funny enough, with my father in an Italian restaurant in Soho, Dean Street. And he literally had a heart attack and his face went into the bowl of pasta in front of him like some sort of comedy.
So that would take the edge off the...
I mean, literally, boop, he literally fell into the bowl of pasta. Amazingly, he survived.
I would be waiting for the punchline. If he was expecting an ambulance... He'd have a long wait because I'd be sitting there going, this is going to be weird.
Well, it's amazing how people's brains work. Did you read, sorry to interrupt, very quickly, did you read the story about the guy who faked heart attacks in restaurants to avoid paying the bill?
Oh, I've done that. Haven't you done that?
He had done it about 20 times before they caught on to, hang on a second, this fellow's amazing, 20 heart attacks. And they finally caught up with him and did him for fraud. Sorry, back to the story. Right. Back to the story of lead in petrol.
So, as I said, Midgley himself was in hospital with lead poisoning. Now, before we judge him too harshly, you've got to remember that he actually truly and sincerely believed that he had found a harmless solution to engine knock.
No.
Which is, yes, because, and this is what I meant by innovation without...
dealing with the consequence, thinking of consequences.
Yeah, this is no forward thinking. This is having a great idea and damn the consequences. But the consequences, now, yeah, he wasn't a villain, like twirling his mustaches in a smoky boardroom. He was an engineer trying to solve a problem under pressure from companies that saw the problem, but also saw dollar signs.
You've frozen.
Don't worry, it's going to be okay. Still, the consequences were catastrophic. Over the next several decades, leaded gasoline spread worldwide, contributing to widespread lead poisoning. Millions of children suffered developmental and neurological damage. Crime rates, cognitive deficits, health issues, lead contributed more to societal problems than anyone could have anticipated. And it took until the 1980s and the 90s before countries began banning it.
I was going to say, do you remember when they introduced lead-free petrol? I think it was actually the 70s that they banned lead in petrol.
Well, one problem was solved, but a much bigger problem created.
Oh dear, why? What happened?
Midgley wasn't finished.
He must be getting on a bit.
We're going back to the 20s and 30s.
What else did he do?
Refrigeration technology was advanced.
Freon? Really? No.
But early refrigerants were suboptimal. Options that you had were ammonia, toxic, sulfur dioxide, also toxic, and methyl chloride, flammable and toxic. Basically, old refrigerators were cold steel death boxes. If you wanted to keep your food fresh, you also had to accept the risk of blowing up your kitchen or poisoning your family. So good times.
So what was Freon was the trade name, but what was it as a chemical compound?
I will get there. But GM, again, wanted a safe, non-flammable, non-toxic refrigerant to revolutionise home refrigeration. So they thought, who could we get to?
This fellow, Wrigley. Midgley.
So someone had a bright idea and they turned once again to Thomas Midgley Jr. And it was like a bit like watching a film where the hero, freshly recovered from the last disaster, decides to solve another global catastrophe. And you, the audience, are yelling, no, don't let him go.
Yeah.
Stop letting him go.
Don't do it.
But GM let him go.
GM have been involved in all sorts of things.
They are probably the world's biggest villain. If you consider the damage that leaded petrol has done to the planet,
Yeah.
GM are probably the biggest villain that ever existed, even worse than Elon Musk.
No.
Now, in 1928, Midgley developed the first chlorofluorocarbon, CFC12.
CFC, yeah.
Freon.
Oh, right, okay, good.
He said.
Yeah.
The Freon seemed like a miracle. It wasn't toxic. It wasn't flammable. It didn't cause explosions or poisonings. It solved the refrigeration danger overnight. Midgley, being Midgley, even demonstrated its safety by inhaling it and blowing out a candle with his breath, proving it wasn't flammable. I wouldn't recommend inhaling Freon or any other chemical.
Well, funny enough, I don't think Freon will do you any harm, actually. CFCs, they don't do you any harm.
In the 1970s, when they recommended it. But Midgley, of course, always had a flair for the dramatic, even if it did end up with him in hospital. Now, Freon wasn't just used in refrigerators. It became vital in many household products.
Propellants.
Spray, asthma inhalers, aerosol cans, air conditioners. CFCs were everywhere. They made modern life feel smooth, cool, and safe.
Until
there was
cool.
Problem.
Not so cool.
Now, apparently, and I would argue this point.
I was just waiting for you to put a big question. Environmental, global warming?
They were destroying the Earth's ozone layer.
Exactly.
Now, of course, no one knew this in the 1920s. Not Midgley, not GM, probably, and definitely not the scientific community or experts. The connection wasn't discovered until the 1970s by two chemists, Molina and Rowland, who figured out that these chemicals drift up into the stratosphere and they break apart ozone molecules. The ozone layer, by the way, just in case you're not sure, protects all life from harmful UV radiation, so it's kind of important. So, yes.
Do you agree that that is a real fact?
I do agree that the ozone layer serves a purpose. I don't agree that CFCs actually caused a hole in the ozone layer. I think it's been proved that the hole was already there and it's not got any bigger or any smaller, and the ozone layer has allegedly repaired itself. In fact, I actually spoke
to a man who lives next door to a person who once spoke to a fellow who had a dog.
The greatest environmental expert living today, and I recorded his answer, and this is what he said.
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
Oh, dear.
So, at this point in the story, if it was fiction, an editor would send it back and say, nobody's going to believe this bollocks. Tone it down a bit. But life is sometimes stranger than fiction. To understand Midgley, you have to look past the consequences and look at the motivations behind his work. Now, he wasn't malicious, and he certainly wasn't profit-driven because he was an employee. And he wasn't reckless, at least not in the cartoon villain sense. He was a problem solver, and that's where he got his rocks off, solving problems. He wanted to improve engine performance. He wanted safer refrigerators. He believed that science could build a better world. He was loved by his colleagues, admired by peers, awarded medals by scientific institutions. In 1941, he became the president of the American Chemical Society. He won the Willard Gibbs Medal, the highest honor in the field of chemistry.
Well, sorry, when did he become the president of the Chemical Society?
1941.
All right, so they hadn't quite discovered the consequences of lead in fuel by then.
Well, I'm sure that as he was accepting his medal, GM executives were looking at each other going, I hope they never fucking find out.
Yeah, exactly.
He truly thought he was helping humanity. And his story is a cautionary tale about technological optimism unchecked by environmental understanding. Now, Midgley's life ended with a tragic and oddly poetic twist.
Oh, dear.
In 1940, he contracted polio, which was rife in those days,
Oh, yeah.
which left him severely disabled. Now, being a lifelong inventor, he designed a system of pulleys and ropes to help lift him out of bed. In 1944, he became entangled in his own invention and was strangled to death.
Oh, dear. So how old was this fellow? 44. He was working at GM for 30-odd years, 33 years. So he must have been in his 50s or 60s. What?
He was born about 1888. I'm not going to scroll back up to the top.
No, exactly. Okay, fair enough. So, yeah, he was in his 50s, quite young.
Now, this ending has been retold countless times with a bit of dark humour because it feels symbolically fitting, a man killed by his own invention. But really, it's simply sad. It's a tragic end to a brilliant, well-meaning engineer whose ideas reshaped the modern worlds in ways that he would never have intended. And it's impossible to overstate the scope of Midgley's impact. Leaded petrol caused widespread environmental contamination, neurological damage in children, and countless long-term health problems. Removing lead from gasoline is considered one of the greatest public health achievements of the 20th century. And it took a long time to get the petrol companies to invest in that. Fucking savages.
Well, it wasn't only the petrol companies, because all of the motor manufacturers had to redesign their engines to accommodate lead-free fuel.
Oh, bless. You have to redesign your engine to save millions of lives.
No, but it was a major...
The global ban on CFCs under the Montreal Protocol.
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
Is considered the most successful environmental treaty in history. Because of international cooperation, the ozone layer is slowly recovering. Humanity actually fixed this one. Eventually, it wasn't fucking broken. We've never fixed anything. Midgley's story is now a symbol of the unintended consequences of technology. His life is studied in engineering ethics courses, environmental science, and the history of technology. But you'll never hear of him because he's an embarrassment to everybody who ever made use of his skills.
I wonder if you can ever become more aware or conscious of the potential consequences of any development, and are you going to care about it?
Yes.
I mean, as you say, he didn't go out intending to poison.
There are a lot of
more safeguards
that we have never heard of because the person who came up with it realized the devastating nature of the side effects and just
might be. Could be.
So we're forced to ask, what risks are we overlooking today? What innovations that seem harmless now could cause harm later?
Yeah.
And how do we balance progress with precaution?
Oh, well, I've got a perfect example for you.
Have you?
Yeah.
Is it don't drink and then pick up a chick?
Mobile phones.
Oh, well, yeah.
Isn't it? I mean, isn't that a perfect example of how something seemingly positive and useful turns into, I mean, just think of the mental health of children.
Yeah, and also, I mean, look at that ties in nicely with our Fabian thing as well.
So, yes, people are going to look back and think, my God, how could they possibly have let children have access to smart telephones? Smarter
than us. Midgley's story isn't simply about blame, it's about humility. So what do we do with the story of Thomas? He wasn't a villain, he wasn't reckless, he was enthusiastic, brilliant, but tragically short-sighted. And his life teaches us several lessons. Even brilliant people can miss enormous consequences. Corporations will push for solutions faster than caution will allow. Not exactly shocking. Good intentions don't guarantee good outcomes, and that applies in science, technology, and any attempts to fix anything in the house using duct tape. We must also examine long-term impacts, not just short-term fixes, because sometimes the short-term fix poisons a whole generation or allegedly tears a hole in the sky. And humanity is capable of learning and correcting mistakes. Now, I question that.
And now, well, I do as well, because as I say,
Because we're always saying lessons will be learned, but
but they're not.
Are.
No, you're right.
So,
but the interesting thing is,
but sometimes it takes a long time.
But it's not, as this fellow, it's not money related. The development of social media and all of that stuff that's proved to be so devastating for so many people, it was sort of quite a good idea. And though Zuckerberg, he's obviously made a fortune out of it, that wasn't his intention. He didn't think up Facebook to make a fortune. That's just simply a byproduct of what was, in his mind and generally, as a good idea.
Well, we could
but the consequences.
We could be fair to Midgley, because in the 20s and 30s, environmental chemistry didn't exist.
Yeah.
Toxicology was very primitive.
Yeah.
Climate science didn't exist.
Yeah.
Companies prioritized innovation and profit highly over safety testing.
Yeah.
And the public had zero concept of environmental risks.
Yeah.
It was a world where people thought smoking was healthy and radioactive toothpaste was a fun novelty product.
Well, I haven't heard that one. What was this radioactive toothpaste?
More on the glow-in-the-dark stuff.
What, your teeth used to glow in the dark?
No, but your toothpaste would.
No.
What fun?
I haven't heard of that one. Going to look it up. Radioactive toothpaste.
Now, in that context, Midgley himself wasn't a villain. He was just a symbol of an era where the consequences of industrial chemistry were very poorly understood. But still, the impact remains enormous, widespread, and long, long lasting. Interestingly, Midgley was celebrated during his lifetime. He wasn't seen as controversial until decades after his death. Only once scientists connected the dots. Lead poisoning epidemics, the ozone crisis, did his inventions take on a much darker meaning. And today, environmental authors sometimes call him the most damaging inventor in human history. It's a harsh title, but a fair one probably, given the global scale. Yeah, it's important.
It is an amazing coincidence that the two biggest environmentally damaging lead and CFCs, that he was the one responsible for both of them.
It's a good job they didn't put him in charge of nuclear weapons.
I can't think of anything else that's more, no. Amazing that he is alone responsible.
But it is important to remember that he wasn't malicious.
No.
His story is a warning, not a condemnation.
Yeah.
So, as I say, he was described as cheerful, friendly, brilliant, a good storyteller. It sounds a lot like someone you know. A man who loved demonstrating inventions with flair. He enjoyed making chemistry feel approachable. If YouTube had existed in the 20s, he absolutely would have had his own channel where he inhaled chemicals to show how safe they were, which again would have been a terrible idea, but fantastic for viewers. He was also persistent. When he faced a problem, he didn't stop. He tested hundreds of compounds to solve engine knock. He explored countless gases to invent safe refrigerants. His persistence was admirable, but persistence without caution is dangerous. Despite his enormous impact, Midgley's name is not very widely known. And we remember people who cure diseases or write famous books or lead countries, but the man who unintentionally poisoned the atmosphere, contaminated cities with lead and helped tear a hole in the ozone layer, allegedly, is virtually unknown to the general public.
How do you spell his name? Midg?
Midgley.
Okay, so it is Midgley, yeah.
And this anonymity might actually be a blessing, because you wouldn't want his Google results. Modern discussions about Midgley are usually framed around engineering ethics, environmental responsibility, the precautionary principle, unintended consequences of technology, pollution history, climate science. His story forces scientists and engineers to think about the big picture, because when someone asks, what's the worst that can happen? Midgley's life is the universe saying, oh, let me show you.
Well, I think it is very apt, because I think we're literally entering a period of history where the risks of what we are developing from a technological perspective are possibly even far more damaging than lead and CFCs put together.
Absolutely. And Midgley wasn't alone in inventing something that later turned out to be disastrous. Asbestos was once seen as a miracle material. DDT, which you mentioned earlier, was hailed as a pest control saviour.
Yeah.
Fossil fuel combustion revolutionised civilization before we understood climate change, allegedly. Innovation always carries risk. But Midgley's story is unique because his two major inventions were both individually catastrophic and totally unrelated, and both global in scale. This man, if he was allowed to carry on, could have done untold other stuff. So that's kind of impressive in a please never invent anything again kind of way. So let's summarise Midgley's legacy in a fair and balanced manner. He solved engine knocking. He improved fuel efficiency. He helped advance refrigeration. He made home appliances safe. He demonstrated the power of chemistry in practical engineering. But leaded gasoline became one of the most widespread global public health hazards. CFCs apparently severely damaged the ozone layer, and factories producing TEL caused worker deaths and poisonings. But he didn't intend harm. He worked within the scientific understanding of his time. His employers prioritised profits, and environmental risks weren't even part of the engineering culture. So this complexity makes his story compelling. He's not a villain. He's not a hero. He's a cautionary tale wrapped in a lab coat. The question that his life raises is simple. How do we prevent future inventions from unintentionally harming the world?
AI.
And there are some ways. Rigorous safety testing, interdisciplinary collaboration, environmental impact studies, transparency in corporate decision-making, never happen, ethical training in engineering and science, listening to critics and asking the tough questions early. The challenge is basically balancing innovation with responsibility, but it's a challenge that must be embraced. Today, we're dealing with emerging technologies that could have huge consequences. AI, as you said, geoengineering, gene editing, nanotechnology, new synthetic chemicals, autonomous systems. And like Midgley, we often celebrate the short-term benefits while downplaying the long-term risks. Midgley's story reminds us to step back and say, what don't we know yet? What could go wrong, and how do we avoid harming future generations? Thomas Midgley Jr. lived a life of invention, creativity, and determination. He sought solutions to big problems. He wanted to improve life, and in some ways he succeeded. But the consequences of his work reshaped the world twice. His story isn't about guilt, it's about humility. It teaches us that even the smartest of us can overlook the biggest dangers. It warns that technology must be managed carefully, not blindly. And it shows us the surprising power that a single inventor can have, power to improve the world or unintentionally break it. So next time you're using a fridge or filling your car with petrol or wearing sunscreen to protect yourself from UV rays, spare a thought for Thomas Midgley Jr, a brilliant man whose inventions changed the world, whose legacy is a warning, and whose story reminds us that progress is complicated. And maybe, just maybe, remember to question the next miracle invention that promises to solve everything, because sometimes solving one problem creates another, or two, or a hole in the ozone layer. And that brings us to the end of this week's fabulous episode.
Well, it was a good one. Actually, very good. It sounded like you'd actually done a little bit of research. But what's interesting, pose a question for you, and you can ponder over it for the next week. I think we've gone far enough technologically in terms of potential health risks, environmental risks. I think we're sort of on top of that. I don't think that's where the danger lies in the future. I think the danger lies more from for instance, mental health, far more abstract risk to how we operate in the future. Because, as I say, medicine and everything, we're pretty on top of that, I would say.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
how people are affected psychologically by the movement of technology and inventions going forward, that is very difficult to determine, and we're really piss poor on that. Mental health is a major issue, and no one seems to spend any money on it.
No, and the problem with the technology we have now is it makes people isolationist.
Yes,
because
precisely
they have no social interaction, because they don't need to leave the comfort of their sofa to interact with hundreds or thousands of other people online.
No, exactly. And I think that is
social skills.
Yeah. And interestingly, here's something that you can actually look at as a subject. It sounds a bit strange to choose a country as a Strange Stuff podcast. I think it would be worth looking at Japan. Japan society, the actual fabric of society in Japan has changed so dramatically over the last 25, 30 years with their economic problems that they've had. People are living far more isolationist lives. And you'll have to check this if you feel inclined to do it. So strange is the situation in Japan that nearly half of people who actually get married are still virgins. And it may sound absolutely insane. How can you not date people and have sex with people, when you're in your teens? In Japan, and you have to check it because it might be complete bollocks, half the people that are getting married, and those that are, getting married, are virgins.
I mean,
it's just, what the hell's going on?
Some would say that's a great thing.
Well, if you're a Christian fundamentalist, J.D. Vance would be massively impressed.
Or an Islamist.
I don't think I don't think you have to be a virgin to get married in Islam, do you?
Well, they don't like a woman who isn't a virgin.
Oh, well, maybe. But anyway, so isn't that, talk about the fabric of society changing so dramatically that people lead such insular lives. They're working 14, 15 hours a day. They go and have dinner by themselves because they don't have a kitchen in their apartment because it's so small. That is literally, and interestingly, Japan is one of those countries that is very high tech in terms of gaming communities and online existences, internet cafes and all of that sort of thing.
Well, it
could be a precursor.
Maybe have a look at that.
No, because isn't that, if that statistic is true, can you imagine anything stranger than that? Can you imagine, you've never been married, but can you imagine getting to the point of wanting to get married and still having not had sex with another person, with another human being?
I can't imagine it because it's impossible.
No, it is literally impossible. How can you go through life?
I assume I would literally still be a virgin.
Yeah. It's just, you've never had a relationship with another person that actually led to I mean, even just casual sex. I mean, it's just what's going on?
But I think what's happening is if you look at the world of online dating, it's a toxic minefield, and expectations are now ridiculous. It's like there's a list of demands that have to be met before a woman or a man will even answer your hi.
Well, it's very interesting you say that. On my Facebook feed, or one of them, sometimes you get there's a channel where it's a few guys interviewing women. It's in a studio setting, and they're always a bit, in my mind, completely unrealistic. But they were actually asking this panel of women what was the minimum salary that they would accept to date a man. And that they were talking about, oh, he's got to make at least $250,000 a year, or I wouldn't even look at him. And I was thinking, what has the world come to where you have to have a minimum whore?
We know you're a prostitute. We're just getting over the price.
I mean, literally. And it was just like, what? How can you even set such a parameter as someone who you might want to date? It's just beyond belief.
I mean, expectations have changed. It's no longer enough to look cute in that stupid T-shirt. It's that if you can't pay the bills, you ain't getting none. And
you've never looked cute in a T-shirt, Andy.
I look cute in anything, mate. Anyway, we have to bring this episode to a close.
Why? I'm enjoying our conversation.
Fuck off. I hate talking to you.
Japan. That could be a subject just by itself. The number of strange statistics. What do you mean we haven't even touched the surface?
Anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. I'm sorry that he just doesn't shut up today. I don't know what's got up his bottom. Join us again next week, where we will have another episode of Strange Stuff, and it will be very strange. And I think we're going to have a bit of a quiz for Mark as well.
Oh, no, not a general knowledge quiz. I never do well on that.
Which might be a little bit entertaining for some. Have yourselves a strange week. In the meantime, don't invent anything that's going to destroy the planet, because even though you might think it's already been done, it can still be done again. So have fun. See you next week. Bye for now.